This is probably going to be one of the most valuable videos that you will ever watch as a shuffle dancer. I'm going to give you two of my most important tips. There's so many more, but I'm going to give you two today to overcome comparison as a dancer. This is something that dancers struggle with at every level. I just want to start there and normalize that. I want to let you know that whether you are a beginner and you're comparing yourself to other people who are at the same level as you, like working up in the shuffle world, maybe you're comparing yourself to someone who's been shuffling for years, or maybe you're an experienced or an advanced shuffler and you're comparing yourself to the people around you, the people that you look up to. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it does happen, okay? These are two amazing tips and amazing ways that you can overcome this and help to quiet that inner critic that says you need to be where that person is or makes you feel bad about where you are in your shuffle journey. So maybe you've like moved past the beginner moves, or maybe you are still a beginner, but you're comparing your freestyle to people who have been dancing for a long time. Or maybe you're in a class and you're comparing yourself to how quickly that person picked up the concept or the technique or the choreo and how it's taking longer for you. Like, it shows up in so many small and nuanced ways. It's a subtle trap, but it really makes you feel like your effort is pointless. And I'm here to tell you, your effort is not pointless, okay? We can't totally eliminate this human habit. Hello, we are all human. No one's exempt from this, but we can significantly turn the volume down on the voice in our head that says, you're not doing enough, you're not good enough, that person is better, so on and so forth. I also just want to say really quickly, like, I know that most of us don't compare in a competition way. We're not looking at other people's videos and being like, they're so much better than I am. I need to get better so I can beat them. Like, that's not what the shuffle community is about. I know that that's not what's going through your brain. So I just want to name that. It's really just about trying to have our efforts feel recognized by us. I always say to my students, I wish you could see yourself the way I see you. The reason I say that is because when we are, this is a side rant, but it's so good. This isn't even one of the two tips, but it's so damn good. I always say that because when we are seeing ourselves in our journey every single day, day after day after day, we watch our videos, we see ourselves in the mirror, we see our Instagram posts, whatever the case may be, it's very hard to notice the small, subtle changes that are compounding as we get better, as we progress, as we learn to do the things that we once couldn't do in shuffle dance. Like, it's very, very hard to see that. But from the outside perspective, number one, we don't have, if I'm looking at your flow, for example, I don't have the blinders on that you do, and I'm not so self-critical the way that you are of yourself. I'm seeing the good. I can see that you've been working on, a running man that has higher knees, and I can see that come out in your freestyle. Yes, you might still be working on it. No, it might not be perfect, because is it ever really perfect? There's always refinement, but I can see the efforts. And I think that is so important. And it's such an underrated part of comparison. Now, one more side tangent. It doesn't mean that we're looking for external validation or that we need other people to tell us you're doing great and clap us on the back. That's not what this is for. But it's really important that we start to look at ourselves through the eyes of others. We take off those blinders that say everything that you're doing is not enough and, this person's better and blah, blah, blah. Take off those blinders and start to see the progress, even if it is little by little by little. All right? That side tangent, we're going to reel it back in and we're going to go to the 2 tips to eliminate comparisonitis. Beside that mindset shift, you just got a bonus 3rd tip. You are lucky. Okay. The first one is going to ruffle some feathers. Changing your input. What does that mean? That means if you sit down and maybe it's the day of, maybe it's an hour before, maybe it's right before your shuffle practice. If you sit down and you start scrolling and watching shuffle videos before your practice, cut that shit out. Cut it out. Okay? You might see this as a source of inspiration. You might be like, I'm scrolling, I'm, looking to feel inspired for my session. I want you to audit that. That might be true, but I want you to actually take a good hard look and audit that belief, because oftentimes you're actually scrolling and it becomes a source of self-doubt. you immediately are assessing all the ways that you are less than the person that you're seeing on the video. You're comparing yourself to them before you even start your practice. And what typically happens is that without you knowing, this happens unconsciously, subconsciously very often. Oh, move my whole camera there. What happens subconsciously is that you end up actually trying to emulate the person in the video in your flow. So now you're comparing yourself mentally, but then you also step into your practice session and you're trying to be that person. I call this sticky brain. Sometimes you do it consciously. Sometimes people literally want to emulate the person that they're seeing in the video, which I don't love that, but that's a podcast, a rant for another day. But sticky brain is like, it kind of just sticks in your brain whether you like it or not. And sometimes we just end up like, if that's the most recent thing our brain has seen, we're going to try to do things the way that we just saw them performed on the video. And then that leads us to probably not doing it as well because we're not that person, right? Most likely we're trying new things all the time. We haven't practiced it. Like it's just feeding the comparison narrative unnecessarily, okay? You need to set a clear boundary with yourself around your practice time or the day that you plan to practice. Because I believe that you could watch videos in the morning that could taint your entire energy and you could go practice at 2 p.m. and still feel it lingering. So you need to be protective of your time and energy and ask yourself, this is an honest question. Does this, video watching prior to practice, does it feel like fuel? Does it feel like it's helping me? Or does it feel like defeat? Does it feel like every time I watch these videos, I start stressing, I start feeling pressure, like, oh my God, I need to do all these things. I need to learn all these things. Because so many people that I've talked to are on the side of defeat and they don't even realize it. So this is a huge one, okay? The second thing, actually, no, let's talk a little bit more on this. Auditing yourself, auditing your habits around your practice, auditing what these videos mean, it's removing the external noise, right? It creates mental chaos. It makes you like second guess your next step instead of just planning your practice, setting your intention, showing up, being fully in your own energy. So the second thing that I want you to think about, the second tip to overcome comparisonitis is remember that you actually know way more than you do. Like you know way more than you think you do is what I should say. And when you watch other people's videos, I want you to use that as a source of hope rather than a source of comparison. What I mean by that is if you are someone, even if you're a beginner shuffler, at one point, we all didn't know how to do anything. We didn't know the running man. We didn't know the T-step. We looked like overcooked spaghetti noodles. And over time and with practice, it doesn't matter how long it took, none of that matters, but we were able to understand it, to demonstrate it, and to get it. I'm sure every single person can remember the first time one of their first one or two shuffle moves actually clicked in their brain. It is such a euphoric feeling. And I want you to remind yourself of that now, whether you are 5-6 years into the journey like I am, whether you are, just 1 or 2 years into the journey, or whether you are 3 to 6 months into the journey or anywhere in between. When you see somebody else doing something in their shuffling and you're like, oh, I really want to do that. I don't understand. Why can't I do that? Why doesn't it make sense to me? Why can't I figure it out? Like instead of going into number 1, comparison mode, but number 2, self-bullying mode, self-judgment mode, right? Shaming yourself mode. Instead of going there, look at it as like, okay, this person figured this out. Whether they figure it out on their own, whether they take courses or classes, or they have a shuffle mentor, whatever the case may be, they figured it out. So based on my experience of knowing nothing at one point, I know that I too, with the right practice, with the right technique, with the right feedback, with the right time, dedication, etc., I know that I can get it too because I already have. You already did it with your running man, with your T-step, with your Charleston, whatever your first fundamentals were that you learned. You already did it. So when you see somebody else doing something else that maybe it's a feeling of envy at first, change that feeling from envy to possibility. Let that light a fire under your ass to go back into your practice sessions and to figure out what you need to do to get there as well in your own way, right? Getting there and looking different than them, because the way that they perform a move is always going to look different than the way you perform a move. We're all different. We're all physically, mentally built different, and that's completely cool. It's what we want. We want uniqueness, right? But you can do it too. If they did it, you can do it too. So tip number 2 is to see things as possibility. Stop seeing them as envy or as like, oh, I have so far to go. Get strategic, get smart. Get the right help, the right support, the right feedback, the right information. Oh, for the love of Pete, get the right information. I see so many people getting random or wrong information in the shuffle community, and no shade to anybody who's teaching, but ultimately the right information is going to make things click for you. You won't need to compare yourself to other people when you have the same information that they do, when you have the same level of application that they do, right? And either way, this is so important to know. Everyone is apples to oranges. You can't compare yourself to me. I can't compare myself to that person. That person can't compare themselves to that person, and so on and so forth, because literally every single element of all of our lives is completely different, even outside of shuffling. Just because, I'm short and you're tall, yeah, we're going to dance differently. But also, if you have 16 hours a week to dedicate to dancing and I have 2 hours, I can't compare myself to you. I'm on my own journey. That's secret tip number 4. I better hang up on this podcast. I'm going to just keep yapping and give everything to you right now. Okay? It is so, so, so important. So when the voice of comparison lies to you, those are 2 main tips with like 2 other little side tips. But what is the actual concrete, like physical solution? In my opinion, it is to number 1, see the success that you already have inside of you. But number 2, have a precise formula that is going to help you become a success story. That's going to help you get to the next level in your shuffling. A precise formula, the right instruction, the right information, just like I said, okay? This is something that I do inside of my Footwork Blueprint course. It is a course based on fundamentals, but it actually goes a lot further than that. So this is great because if you're a total beginner, let's say you're in those early stages that I mentioned, maybe 1 month, 6 months, under a year, it's going to help you learn everything correctly from the start. So you're not going to be comparing yourself to someone who has been learning it correctly for 5 years. Right? You're going to realize you have the correct information from the get-go and not have to go back later and fix all your muscle memory, which is what I had to do. If you are a more experienced dancer and you are someone who's like, okay, I'm practicing like mad and I'm not seeing the results that I want, probably your fundamentals is the first. No, I'm going to backtrack. Absolutely, the fundamentals are the first place that you want to start to try and diagnose that problem. Right? So if you are someone who's feeling that way, you probably do have to go back and rewire your muscle memory, as I said, just like I needed to do. So this course is still super valuable and super beneficial, whether you are a total beginner or whether you are someone who's like, I need to get to that next level. I want to get the correct information. Okay? This is going to eliminate the frustration cycle. It's going to eliminate it because you are going to try without having the correct information, you're going to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and it's not actually going to become more smooth. It's just going to still be clunky, and not everyone has that teacher brain where it's like, oh, I can see exactly what I'm doing wrong. Oh, I can feel that my foot is out of place or my weight is not transferred properly. Some people can do that, and that's totally cool. But usually we need an outside perspective. We need someone to show us an alternative way, an expert to show us, hey, try doing it this way instead. See if that makes a difference, right? It just makes the puzzle pieces click a lot better. It takes off those blinders and it's like, oh, here's all the possibilities of how I can make this work, right? And it starts with your fundamentals. It is also going to replace the timeline trap with intentional progress. So what I mean by that is you're going to stop judging your speed, not physical shuffle speed, but that's another thing that people judge themselves on, but your growth speed, you're going to stop judging it and comparing it and contrasting it with everyone else's. Your focus is going to be hitting the next step correctly. taking the next piece of the program and applying it fully. Like you're going to know exactly what you need to do step by step by step to level the F up in shuffling. And that's why I love this, because it is a total clear roadmap, which is awesome. Your only competition is like getting a little bit cleaner than yesterday, getting a little bit more creative than last week's practice, right? It really takes your focus from being outward and like worrying about what everyone else is doing and coming back to yourself and being like, all I have to do is follow this checklist and I'm going to level up. Done. Right? So this is so important, especially because when your body knows exactly what to do because of the clear training, your mind doesn't have room for doubt or comparison. Like you are going to feel more confident immediately because everything is going to change, not only in how your shuffling looks, but in how it feels. This is going to help you build undeniable proof of your capability. Like if I'm, starting to learn to play basketball and I'm comparing myself to LeBron James, but I don't have the training, I don't have the coaching, I don't have the right information that LeBron James is getting, how am I going to compare myself to LeBron? How, like, it just doesn't make sense. So we need to get that information and start focusing on our own input rather than worrying about what everyone else is doing and having your own path to quote unquote shuffle mastery, whatever that looks like to you. All right. If you are ready to stop letting comparison hold you hostage and hold your progress hostage, if you want to build a flow that you are genuinely proud of, highly recommend checking out that footwork blueprint course. I'll put all of the information about it and you can look into it a little bit more in the show notes, in the caption, etc. But it's going to give you the technical and precise formula to clean up your fundamentals, which is where growth starts. And it's going to instantly kill self-doubt. So that means comparison is going to be so much easier to overcome when it does appear. There's also mindset trainings in there that go even deeper than what I am talking about today. So think of this, but like on a whole other level. And it's going to help you build the discipline that you need to fully own your journey. It's going to give you the confidence, and it's really going to help you coach your brain differently and think about shuffling differently, because I always say shuffling is 50% mindset. So all of that is in there for you. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. Apply these tips, get the right information, and literally watch your shuffle progress completely explode in the best way possible. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.